Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a linguistic family feud. It's a tale of two siblings, separated by an ocean, who ended up speaking just a little bit differently. We're going to explore the fascinating story of how one language really became two. You have absolutely seen this before, right? Maybe you're watching a movie or talking to a friend from across the pond. You see a word that looks, well, almost right. Is it color with a U or color without? Are we talking about lorries or trucks? It's one of those things that just makes you stop and think for a second. But here's the wild part, the thing that makes this so interesting. Both American and British English started as the exact same language. I mean, for centuries, they were one and the same. So, what happened? How did they end up on such different paths? Okay, this is where our story really kicks off. We're going to look at exactly how these two linguistic siblings picked up such different habits, from the way they spell things all the way to how they sound. So yeah, let's dive right in. First up, the most obvious one, spelling. You see, British English tends to hold on to older spellings, a lot of them influenced by French, like that O-U-R in color. But over in America, there was this big push for cultural independence, and that included the language. A guy named Noah Webster basically championed simpler, more phonetic spellings to make the language feel uniquely American. And that's why color lost its U and travel dropped its second L. And then you've got vocabulary, where totally different words were picked for the exact same things. So in London, you'd be renting a flat, but if you're in New York, you're looking for an apartment. It's the same place to live, but it really shows how new environments and influences created a whole new set of words. And these vocabulary differences, they pop up everywhere in daily life. In the UK, you might have a biscuit with your tea. In the US, you'd call that a cookie. And you gotta be careful asking for chips in London. You'll get what Americans call French fries, not the salty snacks they call crisps. Even your shoes change names, from trainers to sneakers. It's like a parallel universe of everyday words. Now, the split didn't just stop with words on a page. It's also about how they sound. A classic example of this is something called T-flapping. In a lot of American accents, that T sound in the middle of a word like butter gets really soft, almost like a D sound, so it sounds more like butter. But in most British accents, that T stays sharp and crisp, butter. Even the basic building blocks of grammar started to drift apart. It's a pretty subtle difference, but listen for it. Someone in Britain is much more likely to ask, "Have you got the time?" An American would probably say, "Do you have the time?" Both are totally correct, of course, but they act like these little grammatical fingerprints, kind of revealing where that version of English grew up. And just to keep us all on our toes, even something as simple as writing down the date got mixed up. In Britain, and honestly much of the world, it's pretty logical. Day, then month, then year. But in the United States, nope, the month comes first. It's a small thing, but it can cause a whole lot of confusion if you're not paying attention. So fast forward to today. In this modern, globalized world, how have these two siblings fared? With the internet connecting literally everyone, has one version started to pull ahead in the popularity contest? Well, the numbers tell a really dramatic story. Today, there are around 370 million native speakers of American English. Compare that to just 75 million for British English. I mean, that is a huge demographic gap, and it has massive implications for which version of English you're most likely to hear online, see in movies, or use in business. So why this dominance? Well, it really comes down to a triple threat of influence. First, you've got global media. Hollywood, Netflix, YouTube, they're all broadcasting American English to every corner of the planet. Second, there's education. International language programs and big tests like the TOEFL are often based on American norms. And finally, economic power. The global reach of US businesses and tech has pretty much made its language the default in a lot of boardrooms. Okay, so all of this brings up a really practical question. If you're writing an email or a report or creating content for a global audience, which English should you be using? Does it even really matter? The key is to think about it as a strategic choice. First, who are you talking to? Who is your audience? Are they mostly in the US, or are they an international crowd that's already swimming in American media? Second, what's the context? A formal academic paper might go one way, but a novel set in London absolutely demands the other. But the most important rule of all is number 3. Whatever you choose, be consistent. Just pick a lane and stick with it. And this really gets to the heart of it. Because of that massive media footprint, American English often feels like the more accessible, maybe more neutral choice for a big global audience. But that does not make it better. Choosing British English can be a really powerful stylistic move, giving off a vibe of formality or tradition or a specific European setting. Which leaves us with one last really fascinating question to chew on. In our hyper-connected world, with us all talking to each other across the Atlantic all the time, are these two dialects going to drift even further apart? Or will all the influence from global media and the internet slowly push them back together, maybe even creating some new hybrid global English? Only time will tell.